you have to run a Turing test today and prove that I am not AI. What are the questions? What are the prompts you can use?
UP is known for improving law and order using maybe what you call encounters.
Okay, now what is the fear of European Union? Why they are not interested in peace between Russia and Ukraine?
Let it be. You are aerospace engineer as well. One Air India plane accident had happened in the month of June or July, Ahmedabad to London flight. What were the reasons behind this crash?
You're an aerospace engineer. Now tell me that we often say that when it comes to aircraft manufacturing in India, we are not good at manufacturing engines. I want an engineer's take on the fact that why India is still not able to manufacture good aircraft engines in India.
May I come in, sir?
Yes, please do. Good afternoon. Take your seat.
Thank you.
You're Mr. Kartikey.
Yes, sir.
And Kartikey, you are from Uttar Pradesh, Gonda. Right?
Gonda district.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is Kartikey Singh. I am from Gonda district of Uttar Pradesh. I completed my schooling there. After that, I did graduation in aerospace engineering from IIT Bombay. I was part of a startup, but later gravitated towards civil services. This will be my third attempt and first interview.
Okay. So, tell us about the startup you were part of.
I was a co-founder. It was a team of 3 people. They were my colleagues from IIT Bombay. And it was kind of a fantasy game startup like Dream 11. You might have heard the name. But we faced challenges regarding its regulations. The government of India banned it, but the Supreme Court decided a case of unbanning it. So investors really backed out from that idea, as well as the challenges of financial distress to the people from that startup.
Understandable. So you have some experience about these disruptions in the ecosystem.
Yes.
Tell me, do you foresee more such disruptions coming in the future when we talk about the startup ecosystem? And if yes, what are the likely disruptions in, say, next 5-10 years?
So autonomous vehicles as well as autonomous logistics is currently underway because India is expanding a lot with the capex expenditure. So long-term truck-based logistics can be utilized through AI. In the field of healthcare, a lot of startups have expanded because of the telemedicine ideas as well as diagnostics using AI. In the field of nanotechnology, there are more startups. But India currently faces challenges regarding deep technology startups, as highlighted by Honorable Minister.
If you look carefully, we can clearly see that most of the interventions coming in the startup ecosystem end up becoming either capital intensive or at least less labor intensive, which effectively means that they kind of have a growth which is jobless. For an economy like ours, do you believe that the employment situation gonna be it's going to be worse because of startups rather than being better?
So I believe the large scale startups that have expanded in India are really into services sector. Like even if we look the last year's IPO, the company that have gained a lot of finances, they are largely into service driven economies like tech educations. And MSMEs have faced challenges regarding financing, which are very high labor intensive industries. So we have to balance the startup area, especially in manufacturing sector, so that patient capital is provided. So people are not really searching valuations, which is very fast in the services sector. Comparatively, manufacturing, which requires a little bit of patience as well as investment in the long term.
Kartikey, you've taken mathematics as your option.
Yes.
I've been pondering on the issue of ethics in mathematics. Do you believe that when it comes to mathematics, it is a ethics agnostic discipline?
So just by the pure concept of mathematics, we might not directly see the principle of ethics in it. But I think if we overlook the mathematics that have been developed, but look at the nature that follows the mathematics, I think we can easily find a lot of ideas about how ethics develops, like how energy changes in different levels, so that it changes based on principles of mathematics, but even organisms can have food so that they can survive, they can live. So there is a concept of ethical ideas in nature, and we try to overlook with the perspective of mathematics.
But I still fail to grasp the ethical aspects in mathematics. I mean, mathematics are more about numbers and concept, and they don't care about the poor or the rich, about the men or the women, or any social category or anything. It appears as if it is totally ethical agnostic. Even if you want, you cannot make 2 plus 2 as 5 for somebody who need it to be 5.
Yes, so some concepts are intact so that there are standards. But if we look at the perspective of human upliftment, I think mathematics can be utilized for data-driven decisions. Not directly mathematics as ethics, but mathematics as a tool for ethics. So that is my perspective on it.
Okay. Is there mathematics in ethics? I mean, let's forget mathematics as a discipline. But is there mathematics in the discipline of ethics? Mathematics of ethics now I'm talking about.
So I have no idea about that. But I think I have seen a movie in which mathematics was used to minimize the human casualty
Right.
by Alan Turing, sir. So mathematics can become one of the tools of ethical ideas in the field of ethics.
Okay, last one from, since you mentioned Turing. If you have to run a Turing test today and prove that I am not AI, what are the questions, what are the prompts you can use? Got my question?
Yes, sir.
If I claim that I'm not a human being, I'm an AI, what are the prompts you can use to prove that I am human?
So if the AI has been trained well, just asking a simple question, do you feel emotions?
That won't work.
Usually,
That doesn't work even with the humans. You said, do you love me? Or most of the people say, yes, I love you.
questions on movies like Terminator, where AIs have been trained to give a very human balanced answer so that people don't feel threatened with the AI. But a human can say, ki, haan, I can become such a thing if the case arises to be. Like, if we give an option, ki, will you destroy a world if you given a chance? AIs usually have been trained to say no to that.
No.
So that can be one idea where people and AI can have a different of expressions.
Anyways, thank you. So,
Okay. Kartikey, tell me have you read today's newspaper?
Yes, sir, I have.
What is hierarchy of offenders, if you find from today's newspapers?
So it is regarding the bail proceedings currently ongoing in the Honorable Supreme Court related to the Delhi riots and the Unlawful Activities Prevention Acts. And Supreme Court gave such a decision because the law is very powerful as well as the activities are targeted towards national security. So we don't take every bail proceedings in a similar manner. Like some person might be accused of large proportion of crime compared to someone else. So the hierarchy of bail proceedings are divided so that people are actually given the precedence as
Hierarchy of offenders.
hierarchy of offenders. Yeah. The one who has committed more offense, he will or she will be given difficulty in securing bail.
Offense is one, Delhi riots. Everyone is accused in that case. So in that, how do you visualize hierarchy of offenders?
So the 5 people who have secured bail, some of them were only alleged to be involved with the financial aspect of it. But the 2 people who are unfortunately could not get the bail, and there has been question about democracy and liberty, they have been alleged to be a large persons who have organized a lot of events, meetings, and chakka jams.
Why you say unfortunately you wanted they should get bail?
So in my opinion, I think they have given a lot of time in jail, and it really questions the kind of judicial delays in our system because the case is currently in trial courts in the district. So I believe there should have been a different perspective on how to treat such cases.
So they should have got bail, according to you.
So in my opinion, yeah, they should have gotten bail by now.
But that is precisely the hierarchy of offenders. Somebody who is whose involvement is more serious, he cannot be equated with other who has a peripheral role.
So the Supreme Court also gave a 1-year ban, so paused a 1-year bail term for them. So I think not just this perspective, in the future perspective, they will have a 6 years continuous detention. That sets a bad precedent and gives a lot of power in the hands of the government to utilize detention as a form of chilling effect towards freedom of speech.
But the law is very clear. Default bail is given only when you have completed 50% of the sentence. They are nowhere near 50%.
Yes, sir, they are not near 50%, but I think this precedent can put a lot of under trials.
Okay. Now you are a student of mathematics. Tell me one thing. There is a 15 cricket players have been selected in Indian team. Out of that, a team, finally we have to take a team of, make a team of 11. In how many ways can you select 11 players out of 15?
So by the crude idea, 15C11 is one of the method. But if we go into depths, I think there will be some wicket keeper, 1 or 2.
Well, 15C11 is a perfect answer. Rest is all matter of details.
Okay, sir.
Indigo crisis happened. You're from airs. Indigo crisis happened. So who was responsible for it?
So large part of the responsibility lies with the airline, because although it faced a lot of disruptions, it was not very short on logistics or pilot. Like the data has been shown that it was only short of about 5% pilots, but it faced a cascading effect of flight delays as well as disruptions. Additionally, on the DGCA, because they have also suspended their 4 officers due to lack of accountability on regulations compliance.
Okay. And my last question is, UP is known for improving law and order using maybe what you call encounters.
Yes.
Do you prescribe to encounters?
So there are 2 perspectives of it. One is whole encounter and another is very popular UP half encounter, which is to target a accused who is kind of running from the police, but not in a life-threatening way. So I think power can become a critical tool if the case needs to be, but I'm not supportive of encounter as a method of instant justice.
So I'm hearing half encounter for the first time.
Yes, sir, it's a Langdi Tod operation which UP police follows. And there have been criticisms, but there have been learning from it also, because
So you support half or not?
so I am of the idea that if the case arises to be, because law and order is very peculiar case, especially women's security in almost every state of India. So I'm supportive of the idea of use of power, but with the checks and balances.
Thank you.
Good. Kartikey, just wanted to understand your endurance training.
Yes.
So how do you calculate how much calories will be burned, say, while running? What are the parameters?
So speed is one. Additionally, inclination, like if we are running on a treadmill, that can directly show the calories burned. But if we are running on like a track, mobile phones can be one of the ideas, but I'm not really sure how they calculate.
How do you calculate? But what all the clear
Inclination is one, sir. Number of steps as well as speed. I think these are the primary factors.
and maybe some weight,
Yes, sir. If we are carrying additional weight.
additional weight. Okay. Tell me, Russia-Ukraine war. Trump has been trying for peace. There was a meeting in Florida also. What has happened after that, and what is the latest situation on that?
So there have been little progress on the overall peace between Russia and Ukraine, brokered by USA, and there have been recent allegations regarding attacks on the Russian president's home, and Russia has accused Ukraine. USA has said that it is not done by Ukraine. So there are some deadlocks currently. Ukraine does not want to give away any territory. They want to remain territorially integrated. But Russia has expanded claims as well as expanded army presence in the Ukrainian territory.
So, as per the practical things, will Russia withdraw, or will if this kind of thing persists, then the Ukraine will face more destruction?
So I think with the recent United States action on Venezuela, which is totally against rule-based order in the global arena, I think Russia will not follow rule-based order by itself because it has a counterexample towards America. So Ukraine really stands to lose a lot of territory if the USA does not put pressure on Russia. And I don't think, in my honest opinion, Russia will give away territories to Ukraine.
Okay, now what is the fear of European Union? Why they are not interested in peace between Russia and Ukraine?
So one of the primary fear appears from the USSR concept, which Russia really promotes. So as to promote communism as well as state control in the Eastern European. Additionally, with the changes by USA towards NATO policy, like European nations have been now forced to expand their budget towards arms and weapons, which USA used to provide. So now they are really of the idea that we have to promote self-reliance and independence and not be backed down by USA or Russia under the pressure of East versus West.
Since you mentioned about Venezuela, so China does the same thing with Taiwan. They've been looking at it and they've been eyeing it. What should India's stand be? And what is our stand at present also in respect of Taiwan?
India does not recognize Taiwan, it recognizes China, one China policy, which includes Taiwan. So territory is not a different country with the perspective of India, but India supports the people of Taiwan. It has a lot of economic engagements with the Taiwan as a nation, but does not support it as a different nation other than China. And if there is a conflict driven by Chinese assertion towards Taiwan, I think India will try to still follow the path of peace and dialogue towards negotiations and not war.
And
Kartikey, since you have worked for a startup, you already started one startup with respect to fantasy games. I want to know, there was a Supreme Court judgment regarding Dream 11 only, if I'm not wrong, about it being a game of skill or game of luck.
Yes.
So, how can we distinguish some sports from being game of skill or being game of luck? What are the basic criteria?
So I think this judgment was the primary challenge that we face as a startup, because of which investors lose confidence. And the idea to judge a game to be a game of skill or game of chance really originates from the concept ki can a person increase their odds of winning if they continue to play? Will the experience help them gaining more chances towards victory? That is the large concept. But if we go into deep, it really shows ki is there some elements involved in which your chances are not totally dependent on luck. Like rolling a dice, no matter how many times you roll, you might end up getting a 6 or a 1 in the next time. But if you try to play cricket for a long term of time, there is a good possibility that you will defend your.
Playing cricket is one thing, but selecting a team, that I think is done on fantasy games.
Yes, sir.
That also requires some skill, and with time it becomes better. Is that the case? I just want to know. I'm curious.
So Honorable Supreme Court recognized that it is not totally a game of skill, as it categorized Dream 11 as 51% game of skill. So there is 49% chance. But towards the skill aspect, like tracking the records of the batsman or bowler which have been performing recently, the ground conditions, the way toss works and how it impacts the overall game. So these have been some of the factors on which it can be categorized as something towards planning can be done.
These days, these fantasy games, though were allowed by the Supreme Court, have been banned again. Some kind of ban has been put. Are you aware of the act with help of which this ban has been put? Can you elaborate?
And the act is Online Gaming Prohibition and Regulations Act, and it really prohibits all kind of money games which have been involved because of the financial distress it causes to the general people who invest in money in it. Additionally, it wants to promote standard online games as well as esports gaming, so that it has structure, it has regulations, and there are competitions in it which people can form their careers.
So, going back to now conceptual discussion on this topic only, polity-based conceptual questions. The Supreme Court judgment is there on one side, which says that it is game of skill, and the government, with help of a law, bans it. So, do you see loggerheads between the executives or legislature, for that matter, and the judiciary?
Yes, so there is clearly challenging contrast between them. And there have been companies who have opposed this law in the Supreme Court again based on its previous decisions. But as we can see, Supreme Court did not totally set the Dream 11 as game of chance, game of skill. It gave it as a 51% idea. So there are areas in which there can be gray zones, because not everyone follows similar model as Dream 11. So there can be some games which are under it. And based on the idea of Supreme Court, it decided an All India Gaming Federation in which you can actually go and try to see how much of the chance your game has.
Let it be. You are aerospace engineer as well. One Air India plane accident had happened in the month of June or July, Ahmedabad to London flight. What were the reasons behind this crash? Apart from the technical reasons that this and that happened, I also got to know that because of the extreme heat conditions, the crash might have happened. So, what heat has to do with the flight?
So I'm not aware of the heat, but I'm aware that one of the reasons which have been said is the fuel injector was not working properly, and because of that, engine.
I'm giving you a hint. Think in general terms. What air density has to do with flights, their takeoff?
Yes, the air density helps in a lot of takeoff height, takeoff lift, but I'm not really sure how that really impacts because airlines have been established with a lot of testing and certification, so they can perform in very challenging atmospheres like on Earth as well as in the high sky. So I have to really look upon that.
Thank you, Kartik.
Yes.
So Kartikey, you're an aerospace engineer. Now tell me that we often say that when it comes to aircraft manufacturing in India, we are not good at manufacturing engines. I want an engineer's take on the fact that why India is still not able to manufacture good aircraft engines in India.
So India struggles because of it has developed a Kaveri engine program, but it has not really succeeded in the thrust which is required for engine. The very primary reason is the turbine blades as well as compressor blades, which require super alloys and very advanced manufacturing, which India currently lacks. There are IP restrictions on it. Nations don't want to share technology because they want to remain monopoly. And not just India, even China has struggled and currently does not have its own engine capacity. So these are primary reasons.
What engines are put in Chinese aircraft, JF series aircraft? What engines are put there?
So I am talking about the general aviation aircraft, but I have to look upon that. Like the Indigo uses GE engines.
I'm talking about fighter aircraft engines.
Sure, I have to look upon that.
Suppose you're a pilot of a, say, fighter aircraft, and an enemy fires a heat-seeking missile at your plane. What are the measures through which you can avoid heat-seeking missile?
So flares is one of the solution, but with the advancement in heat-seeking missiles, I think putting off your engine can be one of the alternate solutions.
How will that generate a lift then? If you put off an engine during which
So for a limited period of time, so that maneuvering can give a little different direction for the heat-seeking missiles. These are the primary ideas in my mind. Other than that, you can also put a decoy, like flares are a decoy. You can also put an alternative decoy, like some part of flight or some part of aeroplane which is very highly heated, so that the missile follows that and leaves the plane as its primary target.
you're from Gonda, Gonda is known to be less developed area of UP. Am I correct in my assessment?
So it is an aspirational district. Yes.
So why do we observe such kind of regional imbalances in UP? What is the core reason behind such regional imbalances?
So one of the primary aspect is the urbanization, as we can see in almost every state. Like Mumbai is one of the primary cities in Maharashtra. But additionally, the revenue streams are the primary ideas. Like Bundelkhand regions are very backward, but Western UP has gained a lot because of the Green Revolution. In the Eastern UP front, there are some areas which mining has produced a lot of revenue, but they have been not well utilized, so that there are infrastructure as well as development gaps. So a well coordinated as well as division based governance can be the idea, so that we can actually implement grassroots development through these areas.
Thank you, Kartik.
Okay, Karthik, it was nice talking to you. Your interview is over. We can discuss your feedback now. So it's going to be your first interview at the UPSC,
Yes.
and you're happy with your performance today?
So I have to brush up a little bit.
And the content front, how about the communication? You happy the way you were speaking, the way you were sitting, or you believe that?
So I got a little bit moving front and back. So I thought,
I did notice that, but that wasn't too much. I mean, that was acceptable. It's just placing your arms on this armrest sometimes sounds a little. I mean, though most likely you'll not be having a chair like this there. So, but overall, it appears that if that is the situation, then placing your head that would have been a little better. But overall, you're a very good candidate. I mean, you're a candidate with whom the board gonna enjoy the conversation. I don't know whether that joy will convert into marks to that extent or not. I mean, that is incumbent upon you to ensure that this joy of conversation is translated duly into good marks. Sometimes it can be very dicey, especially when you are having conversation with sir. I was kind of on the edge of my chair that whether you're able to maneuver that well or not. You did it, but then overall, I mean, you have this tendency of being very forthcoming with your opinion, and which is sometimes dicey, but they like it. They like the courage usually.
Okay.
So it's gonna be most likely it's going to be in your favor unless somebody.
dicey.
It's like, but unless of course there can always be a small percentage of fear that there may be some really faithful servant sitting over there and they may not like it to that extent. Now this is a calculated risk. I think I'll advise you to take.
Sure.
But you're gonna decide further. But overall, you're a very good candidate.
Thank you.
Also because you have this depth and nuances in your analysis. And the only fear I have is that sometime with candidates like this, interview can go rather than analytical, factual. And
Yes.
when it goes factual, it's not your territory. I'm not saying you're bad at factuals. It's just that if it is analytical, it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy and a result is likely to be in your favor. But if it is just factual, then it can go anywhere. I mean,
Yes.
even with a very good candidate, factuals and good factual knowledge, you may end up getting 175. So that's not something that you're eyeing, right? That's a real fear. But overall, I must say that is you're a very good candidate. Walk-in is good. Sitting posture, I just mentioned that it was looking a little odd, but otherwise it's okay. In a voice level, in the later part of your interview, you suddenly become very slow in speaking. That shows dissipation of some energy. See, it's just 30 minutes.
Yes.
Keep your energy level, if not constant, then at least, I mean, at a reasonable level. Don't let energy level go dip after 2-3 members because evaluation going to take place towards the end of the interview, right?
Yes.
So good energy required in the beginning, good energy required towards the end.
Ending. Yes.
Sometime in the middle, you may actually take some liberties there. But here when you were talking with sir, your energy level appeared to be going a little low. So if you look at the video carefully, you'll realize why I'm saying so. But I must say that at least the content part of your whole thing is good. Rest, everything is in place as per as my feedback is concerned. Yes. I'm repeating that your idea, your being very forthcoming in your opinion is a strength, also because you have that vocabulary where you end up giving your opinion without offending the board member, which is again a very rare kind of a thing in your age.
Yes.
So that way, I'm really impressed the way you have taken the whole interview. When is your interview?
So on 20 February.
So you still have a lot of time.
Yes,
Make
I
sure
will
that last advice which I've been giving to many candidates that you should not peak too early. That there's a dynamics of the preparation of interviews also, right?
Yes.
You should peak at the right time.
Right.
Your right time is 20th February. If you peak early, then chances are on D-Day your performance will be less than your peak. So make sure that you maneuver your learning curve in such a manner that you are able to perform at peak on the D-Day. Right. So if it is your peak, then you'll have to sustain it for that year. Right?
Definitely.
I mean, keep that thing in your mind. Everything else is in place. You want to ask something?
So regarding that opinion that I actually countered the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, which did not give the bail, but I said they should have given bail.
That was perhaps not required when Supreme Court has said something.
Yes,
You said this is what Supreme Court has decided is no.
because there were almost 3 or 4 articles in the paper today which was criticizing the judgment.
Yeah, they are criticizing legal luminaries. You need not go into those details. You are not a student of law. But at least that much you can score whatever I have you decide that is the law of the land.
Definitely.
And till they change their tense, it remains the law of the land.
Okay.
You handled it well. It was a difficult question. And I have interviewed him earlier, sir. So you have shown a lot of improvement. Now keep it up.
Yes, thank you, sir.